Friday, July 21st, Don Mafia Live, your go-to show Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. EST, late-breaking NFL news with your host, Dan Mitchell, accompanied by some of the finest amateur analysis on the face of the planet. What is going on, everybody? Happy Friday. I've noticed this about myself that I feel like my patience wears thin, particularly when it comes down to the countdown. I don't think very rarely do I wait for the countdown to go all the way down to 0 before I roll my intro because I just get excited, right? I want to discuss the topic for today. And perhaps this is a bit broad, right? Like, who is the Buffalo Bills' biggest rival? I feel like that, like scrolling through Twitter, like there's been like a couple of teams and it's like very polarizing. Some people are saying it's the Chiefs. Some are saying it's the Bengals, which I do not believe in. We literally played them once when Joe Burrow was in town. And then some say the Dolphins. And then that's really about it. I would say that those are the three teams that particularly come out as into who truly is the Buffalo Bills rival, right? Because we look at rivalry and you have to look at it in this lens that there has to be a back and forth. There has to be like an evenly matched, particularly when it comes into the win column. So me personally, I'm thinking it's the Chiefs, although that we do have 2 playoff L's against them, and then we have 2 regular season dubs against them as well. So leading the overall series, I want to say it's 2 and 3, right? Because they beat us 1 year in the regular season with Pat Mahomes and Josh Allen. And then the past 2 times we've played them in the regular season, we won. So I would probably have to say that is the rival as of today. I ended up going on Twitter and then I asked some people that were maybe around during the 90s that could form a cognitive thought when Jim Kelly, Dan Marino, those days, like the Bills and the Dolphins were sort of heated back and forth, etc. And several of the answers were surrounded by the fact that it's a bit one-sided as of now, but say for example that they could actually roll back and make it happen, then maybe eventually that Bills and Dolphins rivalry could come back. So very excited to get into this discussion today. I see several people in the live chat. I'm going to get into it here shortly, but I do need to give a giant shout out to today's sponsor, and then that just so happens to be the Sleeper app. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the link from one of my most recent streams so you guys can go on ahead and just get in on the action. This app, this sports player parlay, fantasy parlay system, hands down one of the coolest in the market as of right now. It's super simple. What you do is you quite simply go on ahead and just pick a couple of different players from surrounding sports. Maybe you just want to keep it baseball strictly, football strictly, et cetera, et cetera. Say, for example, that you beat the house, right? Like you say that we think that Josh Allen's going to throw over 240 to 250 yards or under. Same thing with Tua. You have the opportunity of really seeing giant returns on your overall wagers. Best thing about it is that once you sign up, using code Don Mafia with your first deposit, they're going to match exactly what it is. So say, for example, you put $20 down, Sleeper's going to give you an extra 20. Boom. You have $40 to go on ahead and start experimenting with some parlays. Now, the beautiful thing about it is that it does support my channel as well. So say, for example, that you are getting very excited about football season and you want to put your money where your mouth is, then I 1000% recommend joining the Sleeper app. And I'm going to go on ahead and put that in the chat if anybody wants to check it out. This directly leads you over to the application, and then it puts in my code for you automatically. Look at all this damn time that I am saving you, ladies and gentlemen. So definitely a great opportunity, because I know all of us are sitting here just fiending for some quality NFL news, right? I'm very jealous of the Jets because I know that they had their interview with Aaron Rodgers yesterday. And then now I believe that media and fans are actually invited to their very first practice, while Dolphins fans, Bills fans, we're all sitting here patiently waiting for any sort of credible coverage I cannot wait. Wednesday cannot come soon enough. I feel like this is the first weekend, I think, ever where like I just wanted to zoom by so I can get to Wednesday so I can start actually seeing what the Buffalo Bills are looking like in fully padded practices. But I mean, the weekend's the weekend. And so I'm later this afternoon, I'm going to go see Oppenheimer, which I'm extremely excited about. I've heard wonderful reviews about it. And then tomorrow I'm doing a golf scramble with me and 7 of my friends. So things are looking fantastic. Chris 716 is coming in saying, "What's good, Dan? Go Bills." What's up with you, man? Hope all is well. Milky. Oh, Milky. What's up? Listen, I appreciate you always tuning in. It's definitely always nice hearing other fan bases' perspectives. Good morning, Dan. And to all you dedicated fans in the chat, happy Friday and have a great weekend. Mark, the absolute man, recent member of the channel, by the way, welcome. Welcome on to the member squad. It's always a good thing. Ethan, happy Friday, gang. My man. I hope you have a good weekend lined up, man. Hope you have some fun things going through with it. Nice name. Molly's coming in and saying, "Go Dolphins." Always good to see other fan bases represented in this area. Molly, interesting YouTube podcast from one of your best, Doug, this morning. The topic was Dolphin weaknesses heading into training camp. Give it a listen. You actually might learn something. I love Dougly Do Wrong. I would consider Doug to be a very good friend of mine. Him and I actually collaborate often, especially during the season. 9 times out of 10, it's normally when we play each other, like during the regular season. Game previews, always love hanging out with Doug. He's very knowledgeable. I can already tell you, I didn't even watch the episode, and I can tell you that the answer is quite simply your offensive line and Tua. I didn't even watch the episode, and that's exactly what I can tell you what his top 2 were, if I had to guess. Ronald Enix, what's up, Dan? Hey, man, living the dream. It's supposed to be 97 degrees here today in South Carolina. I was considering going out for like a run or like a walk just to get some vitamin D, but I'm not even sure that I can do that. So a bit too hot for me. So I'm going to be looking forward to being inside of a movie theater at around like 5, I think, to go see Oppenheimer. So it should be a good thing. Chris 716, let's go, my friend. Let's talk about this. Ethan, thanks, Milky. Love that. Special Friday edition indeed, man. And so I love all teams. Hey, listen, you know what? There's no shame in that. Me personally, it's weird when it comes to sports with me, right? It's weird when it comes to sports with me because basketball or baseball, I will wear any jersey from baseball or basketball that I just think is dope. Football, I will never wear any other sort of NFL team's apparel outside of the Buffalo Bills. I'm pretty crazy when it comes into it. I'm pretty crazy in that respect. So, but hey, listen, you know what? You're a fan of the sport. I get that. I'm the exact same way when it comes into basketball and baseball, but football, not so much. No shame in that. Okay, let's see. Let's roll. Buy stocks. My man, buy him. I mean, honestly, I'd hold right now, but here we go. Chris 716, go Bills. Absolutely. Lucas is coming in, making sure that I have a great Friday. I am already, man. Listen, I'm sitting here talking to my friends on a Friday not technically afternoon, morning. Just wishing y'all and hoping that I'm starting off your Friday as relaxed as humanly possible. Dedicated Bills and Cubs fans since 1983. Jordan Smith, look at that. I'm sure you were absolutely thrilled when the Cubs won the series a couple of years back. Ethan, my man. Let me see what else we got here. Dick J is coming in. My guy, loving that situation. If it's a fan rival, has to be the Dolphins, at least these days. They definitely talk the most from what I see. Has to be that South Florida heat melting their brains. I would probably say, I would probably have to say, as far as a fan rivalry is concerned, at least in my space, in my circle, I feel like it is, especially on Twitter. I feel like that's like the thing. I'm not really sure why that particular fan base gets under our skin as much as in particular, but I mean, I love it, right? It's definitely a good thing. I mean, back in the day, we really didn't even have a rival, right? I would probably compare the Dolphins fans rivaling us to us rivaling the Patriots back in the day when they just completely cleaned our clock every single time that we had a matchup against them. So not particularly sure. In fact, I think that that's a perfect comparison, to be completely honest with you. When the Bills would talk a lot of trash, or Bills fans would talk a lot of trash, the Patriots fans back in like the drought days, but they would clean our clock each and every single time. Now it's the Dolphins, but they're talking crap to us, right? Like we ended up like scraping by a win like once every 6-7 years against the Pats, and we were thinking about hanging a banner. So I wonder if this is how Patriots fans felt back when Bills fans tried talking shit to them back in the day. And so the biggest rival for the Bills this year is their own minds. They have better talent and have proven it in the past. Love that. Okay, get me on there. Head start. What you got for me? And so our biggest rivals are the Dolphins fans, not the team. On a serious note, it's the Chiefs. I think that's the only answer as far as from the team perspective, because we haven't had enough of a sample size against the Cincinnati Bengals in order for it to be they're 1-0 against us in the Joe Burrow area, because we know that one game got canceled and it didn't particularly count. And it was literally 2 drives. And what's frustrating is when, they were marching down the field with ease. From what I recall, that first game, we were marching down the field with ease relatively great as well. I think we did end up having an issue in the red zone for that one particular drive, but still, things would have been interesting. Ben Wilson, did you watch the new QB documentary on Netflix? I certainly did. I've come to a couple of conclusions. Number one, Kirk Cousins, hands down, the epitome of a basic dad. Very nice guy, nice family. You could just tell, his personality is just clearly out of place, right? He's that goody two-shoe guy that rolls into an environment where he shouldn't be. But great dude. Pat Mahomes is less annoying. His wife, not so much. Still exactly what was advertised, but we shall see. GBS Dylan, let me know if it's good or not. It's great. It's great. I would 1,000% make it happen. 1,000% make it happen. Spears Bills Talk. Can you post the link on trivia? Yeah, man. Just go on ahead and roll it into the live chat, my friend. Let people tab that out. Bills schedule prediction. Crispy. Great question, man. Great question. So the schedule is pretty tough for the AFC East this year. It really is. This is where I'm at. I do want to see what the final 53-man roster looks like. I want to see how our depth performs in the preseason, because you always have to account for any sort of unforeseen circumstances. Injuries, for example. I would give you this. Floor is 12 wins, ceiling 15. Ceiling is 15, but that is as if we maintain a decent bill of health, right? Very limited injuries. And then 12 as the floor would be if we get a carbon copy of last year, losing out on a lot of key players, specifically in the trenches, because that's what absolutely destroyed us, and making sure all of our massive playmakers like Diggs, Josh Allen are fine the entire year. Knock on wood, though. Hopefully everything plays out. I will be at the round table with you, TD, Richie, Master at work. Nice. Roll on in. You got to. You have to. In my opinion, I think that show is wildly, wildly underrated. Very entertaining. Not so much it's definitely a yell fest, and there's a lot of delusional takes, particularly from TD, but it's great. It's great. Oppenheimer looks better than the Barbie movie. I'll be honest with you, man. I don't foresee myself seeing the Barbie movie unless, say that I have a daughter down the road and she wants to see a Barbie movie, or if my girl ever wants to go see the Barbie movie. I will not be attending. I don't believe my girl wants to see the Barbie movie, so I don't think that I will be looking into it. I feel like Oppenheimer, man, like I'm a big Christopher Nolan fan. He just puts out heaters every single time. Dan, inside linebacker, defensive tackle depth, safety, and backup QB. Inside linebacker, defensive tackle depth, safety, and backup quarterback. That's what Dougie was saying. I love that. 112 to 118 here in Arizona. Ronald, I mean, shit. So let me take a step back and not complain, because I know that you're probably just thinking, Dan, relax. You know nothing. You know nothing, Dan. What are you talking about? Dan, seeing Oppenheimer Saturday afternoon, it's a 3-hour movie. It's a 3-hour movie. I was going to go at 7:30, but I was like, no, like I'm not getting out of the movie theater at 11. So we're going at 5 instead to go see it, which I'm okay with. Good morning, everyone. Help someone from New York City find local Bills gear and send him to get Bocce Club Pizza. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Matthew C. I appreciate that. Did you tell him to mention Dan Mitchell's name? Okay. Hopefully he gets 10% off. Hopefully he does. In fact, I'm not even sure if Bocce does provide a discount in person. I feel like I have to reach out to my contact to make sure that they get some sort of like 10% discount. So girlfriend wouldn't go see Asteroid City, and now she's trying to rope me into the Barbie movie. I mean, dude, like women have like superpowers in convincing us to go see chick flicks every now and again. It happens, you know? It happens every now and again. Smack the like button like you would smack. Milky, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I love that. And she is absolutely correct. She is absolutely correct. Do me a favor, hit that like button. Best way to support the channel is quite simply just by tuning in and hanging out with me each and every single day. Best thing that you could even imagine. But here's the thing. Knock that out. It's free. Takes less than a second. And it helps me out with the YouTube algorithm. Very, very nice. Dallas Cowboys versus 49ers. I think I may have missed some further context into where that conversation was going. But let's go with that. Buffalo motivated. Biggest rival is the Chiefs, but Bengals are the toughest matchup if you ask me. Like I said, I don't have enough of a sample size to see whether or not that's correct, right? I would say give me that regular season game against the Bengals this year, and then I'll have a better answer, but I won't have a final answer, if that's good. I think maybe Xavier was talking about that the Cowboys and the Niners are a pretty big rivalry. Yeah. I mean, and so I don't follow the Cowboys. I know that. Or in depth with the 49ers by any stretch of the imagination. But I do know that my buddy who's a Cowboys fan downstairs, he despises the Philadelphia Eagles. So I know that. And then most Cowboys fans I talk to, vice versa as well. Eagles and Cowboys fans are always through that. Trivia is so Jacob actually has a little YouTube channel of his own, and he does like a trivia live stream, which he enjoys. Scott F., did you see the best backup quarterback show? The greatest comeback in playoff history by Frank Reich was not included. The media gives Bills zero credit for anything. Last year, I feel like we got our fair share, Scott, right? Personally, I am completely fine with us taking a step out of the spotlight because you know that we're going to be back in it. You know the media is going to be back on the bandwagon. Back, like, they're going to hop on the wagon week 6, week 7, and it will all be back. I am personally completely fine with them taking a step back. I really am. TD stands for totally delusional. I can respect that. And so I'm getting Broncos Raiders fan in here when we do another live stream. Do it up. Do it up. Listen, all fan bases are ready to go. Dan, I'm checking out Bocce to say if they deliver to Albuquerque. Hey, Mark, listen, I sincerely appreciate that, man. Great pizza. It's great pizza. It's one of my personal favorites in the area. I missed it. I grew up getting it when I was a kid. So I am wildly, wildly happy that I was able to partner with them. They are wonderful people. They do a great job over at what they do. We'll go from there. Zay Dream is saying that I don't think Barbie is going to be that much of a chick flick, not in 2023. I feel like it's more than likely going to appeal to an audience in which I'm not a part of. And so, are you going to the Bills movie? Uh, is what you mean by that, Jake? Dallas Cowboys versus 49ers Sunday night at 8 p.m. Ooh. Ooh. Sunday Night Football. Love that. And so I cannot sleep last night. Oh, Milky. Come on. Making me happy. Making me happy. Now we got GBS Dylan 2127. I think the Bengals got worse, honestly. Their defense shouldn't be as good. I think that there's a lot of question marks with their safety tandem, like losing out on Von Bell and losing out on Jesse Bates. They're trying to come out and say, hey, listen, Dax Hill and I think some other veteran they picked up from the Rams are going to put up that same production. That's just not realistic. I have a lot of respect for the Bengals defensive coordinator, but at the same time, as good of a coach you are, personnel does matter. You can certainly scheme an average player to be good and work within your scheme by itself, but there's no question that they are going to take a step back. Now, how large of a step back? I can't say, but if you believe that their secondary is going to be putting up the exact same numbers or at least not experience some sort of a step back, I just feel like that's not realistic. Bengals aren't the rival yet. Right now, it's the Dolphins and the Chiefs. I can see that. Biggest rivals, football importance. So the Kansas City Chiefs, that's a regional rival. Cleveland, hated rival. Cleveland, huh? And Miami, but to be honest, if the Dolphins invite us to kick sand in their face 19 of the last 23 times. Xavier, it's me 49ers versus your Eagles, Madden 23. Oh, dude. Zave is trying to challenge me to some Madden. Bro, honestly, if you're trying to wake up with an adrenaline rush of confidence, then for sure you should definitely challenge me to Madden because I am not the best. And so the Broncos fan's name is Junior. He's 35 years old. Hank is a Raiders fan. He is 56. Hey, listen, everybody is invited in here. I saw that there was going to be a Bills movie. I didn't see anything in particular about that. That would be pretty cool. But say that there is 1,000%. Mike, what's going on, man? Speaking of Cleveland Browns fans over here, doing their thing. He's a Cleveland sports writer. He's hanging it out. And so dude likes leaking me some information every now and again. Oh, hell, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Speaking of safeties, I want to see Hamlin play, but our safety room is just stacked. So Hamlin actually struggled a bit last year. I'm sure he will, as a rotational player. I know that he had issues tackling. Hopefully he's able to clean that up over training camp. I personally am just happy that he's able to put pads back on, right? Pads back on, helmets back on, and everything along those lines. But I mean, I definitely agree with you. I mean, with Poyer and Hyde, historically, they have very high snap counts. They're on the field quite a bit. So when it comes down into it, I feel like we're going to see a lot of Hyde, a lot of Poyer, a lot of Rapp. Might not see a lot of Damar Hamlin unless there's some sort of injury from there. Bengals are our rival. You can't take them. You can have them, my friend. You can have them. The Browns, really? Yeah, because you would say the Steelers and the Ravens are probably the rival, and then you and the Browns. I would say so. Battle of the state of Ohio. That is sweet. So the Browns are winning the North anyways. Oh, Jordan Smith. Dude, listen, I am so glad that I'm starting to make some believers out of you guys that the Browns are going to win the AFC North this year. I'm very high on it, man. I'm almost to a point where I'm willing to put my money on it, which is pretty interesting. So there's apparently a movie called Unbelievable. It's a comedy movie based on Bill's Mafia. Really? Let's see. Unbelievable. Let's use the movie. Okay. What's this about? Who's starring in it? Let's see. Unbelievable. Dude, how do you audition? Okay, let's check this out because now you've generated my curiosity. Apparently, there's going to be an Unbelievable, the movie. What could go wrong when a family of die-hard Buffalo Bills fans come together under one roof to watch their beloved team play in the Super Bowl, releasing in 2023? Bocce Club Pizza. Oh, dude, look at them, man. They're already doing it. Celino Law and Costanzo's Bakery. Interesting. Bills Mafia movie begins filming in Buffalo, East Side, April 23rd. I wonder if they have like any reshoots. They're really going into it, man. Dude, I am so mad I didn't know about this because I 1,000% would have been bothering. 1,000% would have been bothering that director on Twitter, and I would have said, "Bro, this is my big break. Okay, this is a role that I wouldn't even need to prepare for because it's already instilled in my DNA." That's precisely what I would have done, my strategy. But yes, I will go see that movie. I will 1,000% go see that movie. And to whoever said Cleveland, that's an ancient rivalry that I'm down to reignite with the Mafia. Oh, yeah, most definitely. I personally have no problem with Cleveland fans. I think it has to do with the fact that and so Mike, you and I are around the same age, right? And so I feel like both of our teams, especially during our childhood, were around the same, like just like in like a perpetual state of mediocrity or just absolute horridness. So maybe perhaps me and you, that's why it doesn't. But I mean, maybe back in the day it was pretty wild. I don't even know. Dan Molly is actually my little sister. She's 14 years old. That's awesome. Milky. Yeah. Look at Milky recruiting to the Bills Mafia. Milky recruiting to the Bills Mafia makes me absolutely thrilled. Thank you guys so much for the support, even though you're Dolphins fans. My Colts 40 versus your Dallas Cowboys 17 Super Bowl. I feel like my boy Zave's just going on here, bro, just flexing on his Madden scores right now. I think that's it. I'm trying to follow it, but I'm not sure if I'm getting it. My biggest worry with Hyde and Poyer is whether or not they could stay healthy for an entire season. So Poyer was playing through an injury for a bit last year. Hyde obviously ended up getting hurt and was out for the remainder of the season after the Tennessee game, and that was just so terrible. Oh my God, it was so terrible. Like there's so many what ifs about what could have happened in 22, but I'll tell you what, I'm done with it. Next week, 2022, as far as it's concerned in my mind, is over, and I'm only looking forward. It's very hard, right? It's hard to like go out there and think about the what ifs of what could have happened, right? What would have happened if Hyde stayed healthy the whole year? What would have happened if Von Miller stayed healthy the entire year? What would have happened if one of those two stayed healthy? Both of them. Who knows? But you know what? I'm done with it. I'm done with it. It's how it works. Thanks, Steelers fans. We'll win the North this year. Thanks. Oh, you think the Steelers are going to win this year? That's a hot take. That is a hot take, Molly. The Bills been in my generation for a long time. Hey, listen, it's passed down. It's passed down from generation to generation. It's a great thing. Does Vaughn come back and lead the team in sacks? And what would that say about our D-line? So he's done it before. That year where he had that ACL injury, he came back and he absolutely had an incredible season. It's really tough. It's really tough to gauge on how much of like a long-term effect an ACL injury can take on a particular football player, right? Especially defensive ends, because so much relies on your explosiveness off the line. So I sincerely hope so. I definitely don't think that we're going to see a drastic downturn in overall production. I want to see what we're used to seeing Von Miller put up, but I don't know. Like I said, I'm fine with Von Miller waiting until week 9 to come. That is my overall thought process when it comes to it. We got Jordan Smith. Might only keep 4 safeties on the 53. Hyde, Poyer, Rapp, and Hamlin. Practice squad, Dean Marlowe. Absolutely. Brother Bill better be in the movie. And so I got the Texans winning the AFC South. Listen, Molly's a believer. She's a believer, man. I like it. And so I got to go. My cousin has a grad party, so I will catch you later. A grad party in July, man. Yo, when does the North let you guys out of school? That's wild. Bills are going 0-17. Milky. Milky. I don't know about that. Dan, the game I wish could have been played, Bills versus Browns of 1964. Jim Brown against our D-line of Sestic, Dunaway, McDowell, and Day, and linebacker Harry Jacobs and Mike Stratton. Look at that. Mike, there it is, bro. There it is. So apparently there was indeed a rivalry between the Bills and the Browns. Who would have known? And so the Steelers are the basement dwellers until Kenny Pickett isn't their quarterback anymore. Is Poyer and Hyde Hall of Famers? I would say, and so I would definitely say, like, I would definitely give the nod to Poyer right now. I would definitely give the nod to Poyer. That's a great question, Ethan, actually. That's a great question. I know that we have Poyer for a couple more years since he's going to retire with us. Say, for example, that he balls out this year. Then I think that it would certainly make the case that would work. Great question. I really haven't put a lot of thought into that, to be honest with you. Let's go Kansas State. I feel like my boy Zave is just coming on in here and like he's just, spitting out whatever's coming into his head. I love it. Bills 12-4. Oh, Milky, your sister, she disagrees with you. Okay, 13-4. Honest expectations for the Jets. Finnegan's flight crew. Last year, man, I think that your team was literally a quarterback away, and that's what you did this offseason. You got a quarterback. I have them winning anywhere between 11 to 13 games this year. I definitely see you guys being a playoff team as long as there's no significant injuries, of course. Love your defense. I think they're very talented, great secondary, great in the trenches. Depth is absolutely off the charts with the Jets. We'll see how Breece Hall performs. I want to see how Garrett Wilson progresses in there as well. I think that Corey Davis is slept on. I think a lot of people are thinking that he's washed. I don't think that's the case. And then you also end up bringing in an Alan Lazard that Aaron Rodgers is very familiar with. So, yeah, as far as my expectations are concerned, man, I see the Jets being very good this year. I really do. We have the Dolphins going 13-4. We have a tied division here. Just got here. The Dolphins on or on. What's up, man? Hope all is well. He's saying the Dolphins are the biggest rival. So we have determined that the fan bases are without a doubt the biggest rivals. As far as team, like we look at like back and forth. We look at like overall record with Pat Mahomes and Josh Allen. It's 2-3 to the Chiefs. But unfortunately, they just so happen to have and so the two games that mattered the most, and that was during the playoffs, which was less than ideal and annoying. But here we are. Bills, Jets, Dolphins, Patriots. Spears is coming in, making it work. Georgia is going for a three-peat. Any idea last time someone won 3 straight national championships? Has it been done? Has it been 3 straight national championships? College football. So I feel like if anyone did it, it was Bama. But let me see. Minnesota did. Minnesota was, it appears to be the only college in college football history that won back-to-back college football national championships. Pretty wild. And so the Browns letting Poyer go still hurts. I mean, honestly, man, I can relate to you that I would have to say that the Bills letting Wyatt Teller go to you still hurts too. So that's a decent trade. You have no idea how much I would still love to have Wyatt Teller on this offensive line, man. Who were to know that such a late round draft pick would have been that much of a dude? Dan, both teams in the 1964 were league champions. Bills over Chargers 20-7, Browns over Colts 27-0, 2 years before the Super Bowl. Milky says, I know. And so Crispy's talking about the AFC East standing. Bills 12-5. So the 11-6 Jets, 10-7 Patriots. No, I read that wrong. And so the Bills are going to finish 12-5, Dolphins 11-6, Jets 10-7, and Patriots 7-10. I mean, it checks out. It definitely checks out. Thoughts on our linebacker replacement for Edmonds? Here's the deal, right? I think you're going to be looking at a lot of different defensive schemes that were not ran last year to sort of put a Band-Aid on the fact that we don't have that particular sort of player. So look at a lot more cover ones, cover threes, three safety sets. With his replacement at the end of the day, I love Dorian Williams. I do. He is a rookie. Great in pass coverage. Matt Milano is still out there. And then it's going to be between Dotson and AJ Klein to make that team, right? Mark, who is a regular viewer, he's in the live chat right now. He is under the impression that Dotson is not going to make this team because of the fact that he doesn't fit McDermott's scheme. Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense to me. That is for sure. So I'm thinking Dotson's going to be the odd man out, and then you're going to be seeing some AJ Klein, hopefully some Dorian Williams off there as well. Very talented, very good in pass coverage. And then also, I do think it helps that we ended up picking up that nose tackle, right? Like Poona Ford. I think that he's going to be able to really be an alternative scheme, like really be sort of the alternative scheme of stopping the run and just changing up our overall approach on defense. So I don't think that we're going to find like a true replacement this year. I mean, granted, I think Dorian Williams will have a lot of opportunity. We'll have a lot of opportunity to take strides this year. But as far as him being at Edmonds' level, I would be shocked if we saw similar numbers, right? I think it's going to take him a little bit to catch up to speed, but he certainly has a hell of a lot of upside. I really like the Steelers this year. 16-1. Whoa, Molly. Okay, 11-6 for the Dolphins. Dede, he's coming in. He's going 11-6 here. Craig is saying that so Lincoln Lowe equaled Jim Brown. Buffalo would have beat the Browns. Look at that. The 60s Bills fans coming back in. Sorry, I can't do a phone call today. Hey, man, no issue at all. No issue at all. I don't think that I'm going to open up the lines today because I have my cleaning service here, and I think they're about to be coming upstairs here shortly, and I don't think it would be beneficial if there's like a vacuum rolling in the background. But, I mean, we could still just go ahead and just chat up in the live chat, man. And then those call-ins will reconvene next week during Bills Mafia happy hour, which is fine. So no worries there, my friend. Best of luck. Best of luck on your stream. Dude, Jets fans rolling in here saying that Bills are 13-4, Jets are 12-5, Finns are 8-9, and Pats are 6-11. That right there, I can almost agree with you. I'd probably give the Dolphins 10 wins, though. I'd probably have the Dolphins go 10-7. Pats, I'd probably give them another win. And so give Pats 7-10 for me. Maybe 8-9. It's tough, man, because I feel like a lot of people don't realize that. And so the Patriots are going to finish top 10 in defense. In fact, I think all four of the teams in the AFC are going to finish top 10 in defense. They have very, very good defense, man. They really, really do. And so that kid they drafted in the first round, I forget his name. It's escaping me, but he's an absolute stud. Is Taylor Rapp the next Jordan Poyer? Dude's 25 years old. We got him for $1.7 million. It's got to be tough, man. Like, I mean, I think that he did pretty well with the Rams. He's just going to have to adjust. I know what's great about like Dermott and his overall like defensive strategy is due to the fact that he gets the most out of his DBs. He gets the absolute most out of his DBs. That's why, like, there's always theories out there, right? Like, would Jordan Poyer be the same player if he didn't go into a Sean McDermott-led defense? That's always something I ask, right? Because a lot of the times, certain players flourish in particular schemes. I mean, I'm sure Poyer would be fine in the Browns. Their secondary is absolutely incredible as well. But I think Taylor Rapp certainly does have an opportunity of taking that next step in his game because our overall defensive scheme is wildly favorable to DBs to excel. Hence why you saw Benford do great. Hence why Dane Jackson actually looks like a decent football player out there. I think that this scheme is a wonderful destination for DBs. And I think that if it were to come down to it, say that we were down the road, say that the Buffalo Bills were ever in like a battle for a particular free agent corner, I feel like that we would win a lot of those battles because the rest of the league knows that if you want to excel in your career and do really well, go to Sean McDermott's secondary. Go to Sean McDermott's secondary, man, if that's the case. Washington 7-10, Dallas 6-9, Giants 10-7, and Eagles 2-14. Wow, dude. What? Bro. And so I got an Edmonds jersey a month before he left. Crispy. Solid profile picture, by the way. Go Dogs. It's rough. It's rough, man. A month before he left. See, I thought I saw the writing on the wall midway through the season, and even the season beforehand as well. I'm sorry to hear that. Worst case scenario, man, I'm not sure who took over his number, but like what I've done with jerseys in the past is that I've just taken the nameplate off and then I put a new one on there if necessary. I'm still waiting on a player that I think is like deserved to be put on because I had an old Tyrod Taylor jersey 5 and I still haven't had like a solid player that has had 5 since. So haven't made the change. Right now, it's just like a blank jersey with a 5 on it. It's my white away jersey, but Xavier's just rolling in, bro. I mean, he's just telling us the scores that he's putting up in Madden right now. I love it. And so I think the Pats will be more competitive than last year's record. Don't sleep on them. I mean, yeah, I think that's a huge mistake. I think that you finally end up having, first off, and so an offensive coordinator, because last year we all know what was going on with that. Oh, shit, man. Yo, be careful, dog.
That's all good.
No, dude, you're good, man. Like you're like over the stairs, homie. Don't fuck.
I'm sitting. It's all good.
You good?
Yeah.
My man. Yeah, most definitely. That would be a viral moment if my boy just tumbled backwards down the stairs. Probably wouldn't be good. Holy hell. Molly is saying, get Tom Brady's son, New England. That's quite a while away, I would say. Dan, and so did you see the latest on the domestic violence issues allegation against Dalvin Cook? I have not. What's going on with that? Dan, it's cornerback Christian Gonzalez, the stud from Oregon. Great size, fluid hips, great add-on GM from the Patriots. Yeah, solid. He's good. So if people think that like the Pats are just going to roll over and be like a 4-3 win team, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if the Pats split with at least 2 other teams in the AFC this year. They're good. And they finally have an offensive coordinator. But no, I haven't seen any further domestic violence issue allegations from Dalvin Cook. Let me check it out myself. Dalvin Cook, domestic violence. Oh, hush money. That's interesting. Let's read what they got going on over here. Share screen, New England Patriots, free agent running back. Okay. Patriots target Dalvin Cook, hush money offer to abused ex. So free agent running back Dalvin Cook offered hush money to ex-girlfriend for abuse allegations, while the New England Patriots remain prominently in the mix to sign free agent running back Dalvin Cook. A recent development may threaten to derail the four-time Pro Bowler playing plans for 2023. I mean, and so I'm pretty sure that Jack Jones got in trouble with some gun-related issues. He's still technically on that team, right? He's still technically on that team, so I don't think that would necessarily deter the Patriots from signing him, but that's still pretty wild. And so according to a sealed court filing obtained by the Minneapolis Star-Tribune, Cook is alleged to have offered his ex-girlfriend Trimble $1 million in exchange for dropping the assault accusations against him. Trimble declined the offer, and his initial offer was $800,000. That's wild, man. You definitely have to be careful with that hush money. Definitely got to be careful with that hush money. And so people need to stop. And so nobody in this division will go 13 plus wins. Better hope your team gets to 12 wins, but I believe the AFC's division winner will have 11 wins. It's a hard schedule. It's a very, very difficult schedule. It's a very difficult schedule when it comes into it. It's It's well. What's up, Glenn, by the way? Hope all is well, brother. Milky. And so I think the Bills will lose to Miami 27-26. Pats 0-17. That's my boy. Yeah. That's my homie Ryan. He's not a cleaner guy. We have the cleaning ladies down there right now. She's sweet, though. Dan, with the Bills giving up 5.1 yards per carry on runs between the tackles in 2022, do you see change in the defensive scheme and the addition of Poona Ford will be a positive impact versus last year? I don't necessarily see a change in overall scheme, but I do see the impact of Poona Ford being absolutely like I have very, very high expectations. I am expecting Star Lutulele in his prime, that sort of production. Last year in Seattle, I've noticed a lot of people were upset about the signing because he didn't have the best year in Seattle, but they had him playing out of position and he was rolling with an entire different scheme last year, hence why. I think now that where you put him where he's supposed to be, I think he has the size and I think that he has the strength where we're going to see a massive improvement on that. Now, am I saying that we're going to see a significant improvement as a whole, right, with our run stopping? Hopefully, right? I mean, because we still struggle with tackling. I would say the Bills' biggest struggle last year, one of the Bills' biggest struggles last year defensively was tackling, right? Like the overall missed tackle percentage for a variety of our starters was god awful. So, say for example that like other teams like sort of adopt like that outside run rather than like that inside zone once they realize, but really right between the tackles, man, I think that Poona Ford's going to be that guy. I think that he is that solid body in the middle that could sort of help it out. And damn, we need him, dude. We absolutely need him. But yeah, great question. Great question. So the woman this alleged DV was committed against said was offered $800,000 by Cook to hush it up. First offer, apparently. What's up? C-Train. What's up, man? Hope all is well. Ethan, what's going on? And so I went to the Bills Pats playoff game last year, and those fans are so mean. They cursed me out for cheering. Well, I mean, dude, I feel like, honestly, like, it's the same whatever stadium you go into, man, right? And so, like, I've been to Bills games before where, like, I'm sitting next to Bills fans, like, in Buffalo, and, like, they absolutely just reel apart in their fan base. I feel like if you go into enemy territory, it's bound to happen, you know? It's bound to happen. It's all people like us. We love our team. And when someone talks shit about it, like we can get, you know, a little aggressive. I feel like we can get a little aggressive about it. And so I have high hopes for Justin Shorter. I believe he will be like a sleeper on wide receiver. He fits pretty well in our overall offense. I think that he's going to make the team, that's for sure, just because I really can't make a valid argument prior to seeing any training camp or preseason that he's not going to be the sixth man, right? Big dude. He's a vertical threat. We're just going to have to see how he progresses. In my opinion, I think that he might be a project sort of wide receiver. I'm not going to see him go out there and absolutely be like a massive, massive contributor, but I think it's great depth, and I would love to see what he can do in certain situations, especially in like a rotation, say, for example. And so are you that lazy that you can... No, Glenn, all right? Believe it or not, my friend, your boy's pretty handy. Your boy's pretty handy. Believe it or not. Believe it or not. So you're looking at a man that changes his own oil, Glenn. All right? I change my own oil, brother. No, I'm pretty handy, man. I'm pretty handy. But like I do so normally try to outsource as much stuff as possible. Like I do love outsourcing. And so I do love outsourcing like the whole like deep clean thing because I'm good. I'm good on that. And plus, like I'd probably go on ahead and I missed some spots. Dan, and so do you think the Jets' failure to develop a second round pick, Denzel Mims, is an issue with him or with poor coaching? Sad for them as they gave him away this week to the Lions. Yeah, most definitely. I think that he was drafted during the Gase era over in New York, or over in Jersey, rather. So I would probably have to blame coaching. I think also once Saleh came in, like once Saleh ended up coming in, I'm sure he realized he was like, okay, like this player isn't really a part of my vision of what this team is. and he particularly just didn't know how to use them. I definitely blame like the previous regime on it, but at the same time, I just don't think that it necessarily fits Salah's vision or from there. And then I think Joe Douglas probably just figured that was time to move on. I'm very curious to see how he's going to do in Cleveland. I'm very, very, very curious to see how he does in Cleveland. I think it's great, great insurance. And so I think it's another weapon for Deshaun Watson. But I mean, right now, like I think that with Garrett Wilson, with Lazard, with Corey Davis, I think that they're pretty much set at wide receiver. I feel like that's the best wide receiver core I think Aaron Rodgers has had in a very, very long time, in my opinion. So what Cleveland is the worst, their fans will chirp, chirp, even if they're losing. Oh, no. Well, like, I mean, I've never had a bad, I'd say that I've never had a bad experience with Cleveland fans. And so at least we don't have football hooligans. Those Euro guys are freaking crazy for their teams, real fights and whatnot. So my boy's just coming on here, just telling all of us what he's doing in Madden right now. And I love it. Jason Phillips is coming up and saying Bills fans are a little aggressive at times. And they almost have the inability for playful banter. Oh, dude, we are pretty passionate about our team. You know what I mean? It's pretty bad. Like, say for an example, like I would love to admit that I never really let anything get under my skin when it comes to football talk, but it does. It does. I try like not to take it seriously, but sometimes I have no choice. Tough situation up here. Crispy is saying that we only have 29 likes. That is a devastation, ladies and gents. Smash that like button, everybody. Super easy. Takes less than a second. It's completely free at the same time. Make it work. Craig Ellsworth is saying that Jason is right. And so I was at the Bills-Cowboys Thanksgiving game. Absolutely wild. Sorry, my boy's talking about some golf right now that we got to make work. Beautiful. Dan, and so the Jets just dumped more right to the Browns. Mims the Lions, that's it. Yeah, Mims the Lions. Now rebuilt with higher paid vets and Lazard and Davis and one developing talent and Garrett Wilson. That was right. Thank you so much for the correction. Because like soon as when I was giving that take on Mims, because I knew for a fact that I thought that it was great insurance for Jamison Williams over to the Lions, like right over to the Lions. I was just like, that doesn't make sense. Like Jamison Williams isn't on the Browns. Thank you for that. Those two, but like 1,000% agree with you. Higher paid vets in Lazard and Davis and one developed young talent in Garrett Wilson. Like I said, I think that this is Aaron Rodgers' best possible core that you could even put through with it. And so the Browns could possibly have the first defensive end room in the league. I'm excited to see what your Bills can do with Von Miller gets back and if Oliver can take a step now that he's been overpaid. I love Daquan Jones too, man. He's wildly effective. Great interior defensive lineman. Hopefully Punafora comes back. Leonard Floyd, as a matter of fact, he's averaged about 10 sacks for the past 3 or 4 years. So I'm hoping that he could also be of somewhat insurance as we wait for Vaughn to come back. But I'm not thinking Vaughn comes back for at least a little bit. And so I just hold up 3 Super Bowl trophies. Kidding. Well, kind of. Why didn't we get a Thanksgiving game? We should have got one. Crispy, keep me away from Thanksgiving games, man. And so we have lost 2 key players in back-to-back Thanksgiving games. I'm good, man. I am absolutely good on that, my friend. We ended up losing Trey White in one of them and Von Miller last year. I'm good. I'm fine with the Sunday after Thanksgiving. I'm good. I can sit back and I can enjoy dinner with my family and I can just watch some good old-fashioned Thanksgiving football without being upset at dinner or without being like absolutely way too hyped for a Thanksgiving dinner. So I think it's probably for the best, in my opinion. Jordan Smith is saying bocce pizza for week 1 or a good steak. Listen, man, bocce pizza week 1, 1,010%. I know for a fact because week 1, like I said, I'm going to be in New York for the game. But then that following Sunday, I'm going to be back here in Buffalo, and I'm probably planning on just getting together with a bunch of friends, and I'm ordering a bunch of bocce pizza. I'm going to order a bunch of it and just feed the squad that way so they can get a real taste of some Buffalo. That's normally how I plan on just watching the games this year, because I went on ahead and I already bought the NFL Sunday ticket package. I've already done it, so I might as well just make it work. Bocce Club Pizza, do it up, Jordan Smith. You absolutely have to. Make sure you put in your orders, code Dan. And so Elijah Moore has looked amazing in OTAs and workouts so far. It's great. I mean, him with Amari Cooper as well. I mean, David Njoku as well. I would love to see him involved a bit more in the offense, but we'll see. I mean, this year you actually get a full season of Deshaun Watson, so I want to see it. Dan, and so the Bills' biggest advantage is our front office has only brought in Von Miller as a high-paid vet and not overpaying to correct for draft mistakes. Listen up, Chris Greer. Oh, man. Go Bills. What did I miss? Leah, we have just been having an open conversation. We were trying to discuss who we think our biggest rival was. We think, from a fan base perspective, it's Dolphins fans, but from an actual rivalry, I would say it's probably between the Chiefs, and then it's also it's the Chiefs, I would say. That's what it is. Chris716 already says. And so I want to go to that game, but got no one to go to New York City with. I feel you on that, man. I definitely feel you on that. We're excited to meet everybody. We're going to be right in MetLife, tailgating, everything along those lines. Let's just go. Cam, he said, I heard the Commanders might change their name again. That would be interesting. Jordan, bocce pizza for week 1, Bills and Jets, ribeyes on the Blackstone, opening day. You have to do a solid steak, man. You have to do a solid steak. Mark's a Blackstone guy. I'm a Traeger guy. I love Traegers. I'm team Traeger. I love a good smoke thing. Back in the day, well, actually last year, especially during the playoffs, what I would do is when I have people over to watch football, I would buy one of those tomahawk steaks from Lowe's Food. I'd smoke that thing for an hour and a half. Let me tell you what, one of the best steaks I've ever had in my entire life. Melted in your mouth. It was a tradition for a very long time as all of us just watch football everywhere. It was absolutely incredible. Ethan, what's your first round fantasy pick? I want Jefferson. First off, thank you so much for the donation, man. I sincerely appreciate that. Say that I'm the first overall pick. Yeah, I'm definitely going Jefferson. Fantasy football for me, I have been slighted, and I have had it come back and bite me in the ass for going running back heavy in fantasy football, just taking an RB first to the third round. Not what I'm doing this year. I'm going receiver back to back to back. That's my overall opinion on that. Say that I'm first overall. I'm definitely going Jefferson. Middle of the round, it just depends. That's what I'm going. That's exactly what I'm going with. Dan, and so you passed my comment again, and so I got Raiders 10-7, Broncos 9-8, Chiefs 8-9, and Chargers 7-10. Molly, I have realized a couple of things about you during this live stream, and one thing I know is that you are a massive fan of the underdog, and I can appreciate that, and I can 1,000% appreciate that. And so agree that I grew up in Buffalo and love bocce. Crazy to ship bocce to Oklahoma. It costs $50 to ship here. Oh, wow. It costs $50 to ship? Really? That's wild. What's up, Dan? How you doing? Crazy killer. What up, man? Doing well, man. Doing well. Nice Friday. It's about 98 degrees out here. Just doing our thing. Dan, and so I have a bunch of Traeger rubs. Amazing. And also try the garlic and wine rub from Melting Pot. Big rub guy. I'm definitely going to have to put that on. I did get something in the mail from Traeger today. I think it was a rub. And so a few rubs I ordered. But I'm definitely going to put that one on there. Garlic and wine from Melting Pot too. Oh, man. I love a good steak. I've tried brisket. It's difficult. Last time I tried doing a brisket, man, let's just say that I didn't get my money's worth for the brisket that I purchased. But this year, I'm going to knock it out of the park. Oh, we were doing a fantasy league for us. And if so, what's the buy-in? I say 100. Mike. Oh, Mike's trying to get into a real fantasy league, right? Yeah, dude. Let's talk offline about this. I'm 1,000% into it. So never heard of bocce. I'm a Blaisdell boy. Yo, bro, that's cool, man. Yo, Ethan, that's awesome. It's absolutely awesome, man. I went to Frontier Middle School right before I moved, as a matter of fact. So I was familiar with Blaisdell as well. And so Blaisdell pizza was solid too, but bocce, dude, you got to try bocce. Jordan, thanks for the shipping heads up. That's wild that it was $50 for shipping. Really? Insane. And so I want the Bills' dirty player on my fantasy team. Who's the Bills' dirty player? Come on, Dan. Let's do a fantasy league. We already do a fantasy league, man. Listen, dude, I have learned the hard way, my friend. I have learned the hard way that drafting before the preseason starts is an absolute travesty, and you shouldn't do it. So I'm actually doing y'all a favor and making sure that we don't even have the draft until after the final preseason game is over with, or otherwise it's going to be different. Nothing beats a Texas brisket. I believe that's factual. Is Molly got me dying. We are our own rival. I like that. Talib is coming in saying we are our own rival. Michael, sounds good. I don't want to be commissioner, though. I hate being commissioner. I'm going to have to be commissioner, and I hate it. This offseason, we tried doing a Madden league, bro. And let me tell you what, that was the most. And so we tried doing an AFC East Roundtable Madden league, and let me tell you what, that was hands down the most annoying experience. Not that it was anybody's fault. It was just, like that was a lot of people, like 31 different people hitting our Discord asking for like rule changes, complaining about somebody quitting in the middle of it. It was wild. Dan, and so brisket is fatty meat. I've read about ways to cook it, but only go to barbecue restaurants to get it. Little hint, order moist brisket if you can, and it's far less fatty. Good to know. Okay, I am going to tackle that beast this football season, and I will keep everybody in the loop on how it goes. Crazy Killer is saying, why don't you take Josh Allen in round 1? Normally in fantasy leagues, I stay away from quarterbacks. Like that's just an overall strategy. I try to put aside the fact that I'm a Bills fan. And so I try to put aside the fact that I'm a Bills fan, like when I do fantasy football drafts, because I think that that's where you can like sort of like roll into trouble and see. But in fact, I think what I might do this year is that I might and so I might actually do like a TikTok series where I have just like some like really dumb fantasy league where I just draft Bills players and see how it works out. I think that would be absolutely hysterical if that goes into it. And so Ethan says, I'm definitely trying bocce now. Just make sure you tell him. Milky saying that we're going to sweep you this year. I don't know about that. Are you going to grab a running back or wide receiver round 1 and round 2? My fantasy football thought process, man, I've tried the whole running backs 3 rounds in a row because I thought that was the way to go about it a couple of years, and it was. That strategy won me my league 2 years in a row. But for the past 2 years, I've been absolutely dog doo-doo with that strategy. So this year I'm changing it up, and I'm going wide receivers, first 3 rounds because – frankly, the league is changing. Quarterback, round 4, it depends on who's there. If Josh Allen's at round 4, 110%, but he's not going to be. I'll probably wait for like a quarterback in the 6th or 7th and just try the best. Just stack my team up. Stack my team up with a lot of different playmakers. Mark is saying, Dan, do you run a fantasy league? I have one with like my buddies from back home. I'm thinking about doing a fantasy league for this channel. And I'm also thinking about doing a fantasy league over at AFC East Roundtable as well. So some big opportunities. I'm probably going to make an announcement about like how to join. Like I might run a couple for like this channel alone. And like I'll probably make it a part of my like season content. So absolutely. I love this. No, Milky, we split this year. We win in Miami, lose in Buffalo. Solid take, Molly. Dad, I think my sister hates me. Oh, dude, I know that she's probably just like absolutely geeking out in the back, just knowing that she's getting under your skin. Ethan is saying your TikTok is funny as hell and it's doing pretty well. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. It's funny because I started off as a YouTuber and like I have more followers on TikTok. But I still don't introduce myself as a TikToker, right? Because I think that's kind of, I don't know, it just sort of like makes me uncomfortable. But yeah, dude, I definitely enjoy TikTok. It's fun. It's really good. I have a great audience from NFL on there too. And I go live on there too. I go live at 2 p.m. Monday through Friday on TikTok as well. But it's mostly just football content. So, say for example, you guys miss me and want a little extra Dan, follow me on TikTok at Real Dan Mitchell as well. And then you'll see some of my other stuff that I put out. It should be fun. Keep using Twitter and YouTube as well, Dan. I will not go to TikTok. I am never exclusively going to TikTok, man. Like right now, like I'm very active on Twitter. I'm very active on YouTube. And I'm very active on TikTok. That's the whole thing with a personal brand, bro. I have to be as active on as many different channels as possible because I need to pay my bills, right? And so TikTok's actually really good as far as like ad revenue, etc. And then same with TikTok during the season, and then Twitter is just good to build my overall brand. So say that I'm taking this seriously, like as an actual career, then don't worry. I am not leaving YouTube. I'm not leaving Twitter. I am going to be as active as humanly possible on every single platform is huge because that's the whole portion. That's the whole portion of making a successful personal brand. Dan, I am looking at a mobile quarterback as my first pick. I was getting passing yards and touchdowns along with rushing yards and touchdowns. Say, for example, you're going first round, then I would say your best option would be Josh Allen first round. Say that you are going for it. I just like the upside, man. Like Pat Mahomes is a safe bet, but I just think that Josh Allen is better for PPR. I just think that Josh Allen is better for PPR. So say that that is your strategy. Say that I had to go quarterback round one, then I am going Josh Allen. But I've done a couple of fantasy drafts. No. And so I've done a couple of fantasy mock drafts. And so if you guys would be interested in me doing like a fantasy football mock draft sometime next week, I might do it. Like that might be like an extra stream, like a late night stream, like 7 or 8. Say, for example, like you guys are interested in that, like a fantasy football Q&A. We can mock draft, we can talk, etc. I could probably bring on like a couple of my buddies or something like that or whatever who are also very good at fantasy football. Maybe bring a few of you guys on too so you could be a part of the mock draft, have like a really good discussion. More than happy to do that, but only if you guys would be interested in participating. That is my overall thing. Dan, a fantasy league for this channel would be sweet. Ben, dude, totally fine with it. I have been saying that I did want to implement a fantasy aspect to this YouTube channel. I really want to implement a fantasy football aspect because number one, I love fantasy football. Like, I feel like that dominates the majority of my conversations with all of my personal friends, especially during the season. So I say, you know what? Like, I know enough about it. I've won my share of leagues. Why not? So, yeah, that makes sense. Who do you think is going to the race for the MVP candidates? I say Burrow, Allen, Mahomes, and Rodgers, not necessarily in that order. King Jamie the Mad, I actually have some out-of-the-box takes for who I think is going to be in the MVP race. I think Mahomes and Allen and Burrow for sure, but also look for sleeper names. I think Trevor Lawrence might be in the conversation. And this is controversial. Hear me out. But Deshaun Watson. I also have Deshaun Watson being a part of the conversation. I don't think the league would ever allow it because of all the allegations against him. But I think as far as stats are concerned, by a certain point where the MVP conversation does start to get heated, I think that he's going to be right there. But dark horse MVP candidates is going to be definitely Trevor Lawrence, in my opinion. That's me. Dick J is coming in saying, I will play. We just got to make sure the people who join are committed. Nothing worse than being in an inactive fantasy football league. Yeah, that right there, like somebody like has like one win or something like that. Like they're 1-6 by like late October, and then they just do nothing. How you do it You need to have a punishment for the person that finishes in last place. That's how you ensure. That's how you ensure that your league is as active as humanly possible. You absolutely need to have a terrible punishment for somebody who finishes last in the league. That's the only way to ensure that even if somebody only has 2 to 3 wins at the end of the season, that they still stay engaged. Watson would never get it. Ask Ben Roethlisberger. He never even got a vote. Absolutely. Like I said, I don't think that the league would allow him to get it, but I think that as far as his numbers, they're going to be right aligned with the people that are actually in. But real sleeper, most like one that a league would actually allow to win, would be Trevor Lawrence. Michael said he could win 2 Super Bowls and they'll never give him any sort of league award. It is what it is with D. Watson. Yep. Right? It's okay, Molly, I see you. Okay, looks like we're having some sisterly battles right now. And Damon said that he'll join the league. Definitely. And so Benjamin was saying that I've seen some mighty fantasy teams end with 3 or 4 wins. Luck is gross sometimes. I've seen that happen too, man. Like one year in particular, I got the last seed in the playoffs and I won the league, right? Because at the beginning, like my team was ravished with injuries, but then miraculously I just ended up coming back. Everybody got healthy at the right time, and then I just steamrolled where everybody else was dealing with injuries. It's just how it works. Dan, and so I'm thinking about making a fantasy league more fun. 12 teams, 15 players with a snake draft, and let's do a money league, maybe $5 a week, 13 active weeks, 780 total cash. $5 a week would be interesting. The only thing that I've realized with as far as pots are concerned is that getting somebody to actually pay their league dues in one lump sum up front is difficult enough. I feel like us trying to get $5 off of somebody weekly would be pretty like interesting. Like not unless you're thinking about like that daily fantasy thing, like a DraftKings or something. That would be interesting. We shall see. So here's a fun question. Who's the most overrated quarterback in the league? Ooh, man. You're trying to get me. You were trying to get me in trouble. Overrated? Tua. Tom Brady's going to win MVP. Just wait, you'll see. Yeah, dude. Dude's going to come back out of retirement for the 15th time. My MVP race is Mahomes, Allen Burrow, Justin Jefferson, dark horse, Micah Parsons. What was the last time a non-quarterback won the MVP? It's been a minute. I'm all in for it. And so, yeah, I feel you. It's far easier to blow up on TikTok than YouTube, but TikTok's guidelines suck. I got banned at 35K. I restarted. It happens, man. It happens. You keep on going. Dan, 50% split between playoff teams. I'm thinking division leaders and 4 wildcard teams. Yeah, dude, definitely. Like I said, I'm really going to put down a lot of thought into this league as far as content is concerned and as far as how I want to structure it. And then I'll definitely run it by you guys here within a week or so. But like I said, I don't want to do it too early because a couple of years I remember specifically, we had the draft like first preseason game, like we were all excited. And then like half of our teams like had like a player that was out for the season and it happened to be like one of our first round draft picks. It was the luck of the draw. So I always said like drafts are always after the final preseason game is played. For me, it's Justin Herbert. I think he's severely overrated. I like Justin Herbert, man. Like one thing I always like throwing out there is that like wins aren't necessarily a quarterback stat to me. And so I really don't know like sort of how to look at it. Like I don't believe Herbert's a top 5, right? I don't know. I say get back to me on that. So last one was Adrian Peterson. And so 2 is totally overrated. And so as a PPR player, 70-yard rushing last season ends that discussion. Dick J is saying that Hurts is being touted as better than Allen by some. You just compare the stats, and that's not true. But y'all, listen. So they're about to come up here, and they're about to start. So I'm gonna let you guys go. Happy Friday, y'all. Definitely go on ahead and make sure that you do follow me on other platforms. I am going to go meet up with my girl here shortly. We're gonna go watch Oppenheimer. Gonna have a great weekend. Love y'all. Have a wonderful day. And I will see you on Monday. And like I said, I'll probably be live on TikTok at around 2, and I'll be posting a bunch of other short videos a little later. Thank y'all so much. I can't wait to see you. Deuces.